Shalom, Rabbi Eric Solomon, in actually a fall day here in Raleigh, North Carolina, Beth Meyer Synagogue, more morning Torah. So this week's Parsha, Vayera, most famous story, some might say infamous story, is Abraham is told by God to take his son, Yitzchak, and to sacrifice him, to murder him. And thankfully, thank God, an angel stops him at the end. Doesn't happen. The question's been asked for millennia by anyone, including these religious school kids that study. This is a bar bat mitzvah study portion. Is, how can it possibly be that God would ask this horrible, immoral request or demand of Abraham? And this really comes to a sense that one way to look at it, we'll say, is how closely one believes God is speaking to them and how much one is trying to fulfill what God says. You could say actually it is a loyal interpretation to the text, or a loyalty to God. It's a standard pshat interpretation that Avram wants to do what God asks. Avram is very deeply concerned about following the rule, following the law, and following God's will. Okay, again, obviously it goes against his own, but that's his desire. There's a holiness, there's a power to that, as opposed to changing it or kind of going against it or deciding what his needs are. He's willing to devote his needs or his will towards God's will. Now, I want to say, I know a lot of people in my own shul, my own community, this, in liberal Judaism, this is not going to resonate. Like, doing something for God that goes against your own needs or own morals, it's not going to work at all. But I just want to say, all I want to say here is that this leans to what we might call conservatives and liberals. I don't mean about politics. I'm saying about religion, right? Are you close reading, not going to change, conservative? Or are you liberal? Are you willing to change what you see, follow, go against the grain of something when you disagree with it? Most of my community, including myself, would agree with the more liberal side. We're not going to follow something just because it's written or said, we think we said. But I want to say, though, just want to go back and say, but there are parts of me, I'll speak for myself, that are religiously conservative, okay, where I look at the text really closely. It's just in different foci. It's not just on this kind of, God forbid, bring up your child. It's about, let's say, love your neighbor as yourself. I'm very conservative and loyal to the text about that. Or seeing each person as being in the divine image, in God's image. Well, I'm very loyal to the direct words of that text. So, or even honoring your parents, okay? So I want to come back and say is, be careful not to so quickly dismiss, in this case, Abraham, a child murder, okay. But the idea that he wants to follow closely to the Torah, the divine will, all of us have areas of our lives where we want to closely follow. It's about which ones we want to closely follow. Where are we conservative? Where are we liberal? That's the question. And maybe in this case, Abraham chose the wrong place to be so loyal to the text. But loyalty, it's not a terrible value. It's about where it's placed. Shabbat shalom.